everyone, it's Aurora and welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you are new, hello! Right, I'm an ex-copywriter turned fiction writer from the UK, and this week I am doing some sort of like writer hot takes, I guess. Some of them may be more lukewarm at this point. This is all stuff I've kind of seen recently on like BookTok, BookTube, Bookstagram, the whole like, whatever, the whole social media thing of like writerly bookish spaces. These are just my opinions. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them. You can agree with some and disagree with others, which I think is rather healthy. No one gets everything right, not even me. So, let's just crack on. Number one. No, big words are not ableist. Look, I do not turn up to someone's job and tell them how to do it, because that is not okay. And yeah, it's absolutely fine to turn around to writers and go, well, you have to write like this because that's what suits me. Well, that's not what suits that writer. And maybe those big words belong in that story. Just a thought. Not everything is for everyone, and that is fine. Look, if I pick up a maths book, or any book that has a lot of maths in it, even like a fantasy book that uses maths for its magic system, I'm not going to understand it. I'm also not going to knock on the door of the writer and go, excuse me, you need to redo this so I understand it, so I can like enjoy this as well. It's not fair. What about me? Because it's not cool. It's not on, man. And look, the other thing is in this big old day and age, you can look a word up. I had to do it the other week. I was reading Tomb World by Jonathan D. Beer. It was all right. It wasn't my favourite Necron book. But it was okay. And used a word I didn't understand. I hopped on Google and I looked it up. And here's the thing. If you can get online to complain about big words in books, guess what? You can look a word up, champ. Sorry, it really, really irritates me that people think they're entitled to tell writers how they should be writing because it's what they want. The only people who should be telling writers how to do what they do is the editors. I'm just gonna leave it there before I get way more on the soapbox. And number two. Oh, you don't understand. I need AI to... No. Whoa. Stop. No, you don't need AI. Look, if you can't sit your butt on the chair and do the donkey work, maybe writing or the creative arts ain't really for you, because that is 90% of what we do is sitting our butt in a chair, putting pen to paper, putting fingers to keyboards and telling the story. Oh, but I don't know how to. And you still don't if you use AI. You haven't learned anything. And this is the thing with writing and pretty much any creative endeavour. It is about the learning process as much as anything else. If you can't sit down and write, maybe it's not for you. Oh, but I don't have time. Octavia Butler was getting up at like 2 a.m. to write her first novel before she went to work in a factory. Mate, I think you can find 5 minutes here and there. And if you can't, maybe it's because you don't actually want to. You like the idea of being a writer more than you like actually being a writer. And look, some of us ain't writers, we're storytellers. We love to tell the stories and we got all the stories. We hate sitting down and actually churning the words out. Me, I love that part. I wouldn't be a copywriter if, I didn't love actually sitting down to write. But the one thing I will say, look, I know I say, oh, maybe it's not for you. I do think everyone should have access. I think writing is incredible because it is the one thing which is such a low barrier to entry, If you've got a pen and a paper, you can write. You write it on the backs of receipts. Hell, as long as you've got a pen and a notepad. And look, that costs you like £2. Quid for a pack of cheap biros and a quid for a lined notebook. And off you go. I think that's incredible. You don't need all big fancy stuff for this. You don't need to go and buy a ton of new stuff. You just need a pen and paper. So I think everyone should have a go. But I think they should sit down and actually do the writing, not just throw a few things into an AI and get it churned out for them. Because if you don't love the process, Or if you can't do the process, because some writers hate it. Sue Townsend famously says she hated writing, but she was a great storyteller and a great writer. She wrote the Adrian Mole series, and tragically passed away from cancer before she got to finish it, which is such a shame. But they all stand up as books of their own right. You don't, it doesn't feel like we lost anything, but we kind of did. Anyway. I could get on that, and I'm going to try not to. I am going to do a video on if you're struggling to sit down and write, ways to actually do that. That is coming. It'll be in about 2 weeks, hopefully. Anyway, right, this is it. It's just do it yourself or don't do it at all. Because all AI is doing is using stolen stuff. You're not creating anything new. And alright, there is nothing new under the sun, but oh my god, that's the lowest level of nothing new. Anyway, and number 3, 10,000 hours to mastery. Look, I watched a Milo Winters video the other day, and it got in my walnut, and I needed to get it out. In the Outliers, he says 10,000 hours of doing something, and you master it. I don't agree with it for a whole host of reasons in of themselves, but we're just talking about writing here, and I really, really don't think it applies to writing. And I say that because writing isn't a skill. It is several skills wearing a hat and a trench coat. It's very smartly dressed. Because here's the thing. You can be really good at, in a dialogue, which is what I know I am, where I'm at my best. And, but even after writing since I was a little kid, I'm not great at physical descriptions. I can do them now, and I actually now remember to put them in. But they are where I'm weakest, and they always will be my weak point. And then you've got dialogue and, pacing, and the thing is, writing, it's a lot of skills, So, no, I don't think we master it. And here's the other thing. If you mastered writing, wouldn't you just be writing an amazing first draft and you're not having to, draft and do all the other stuff because you've mastered it? You're just getting it right the first time, right? That doesn't happen with writing. No one who's put a first draft out has had all the feedback of, great job, champ. They just haven't. And number 4, I wasn't going to do this one, but, I'm on the soapbox. I'm gonna. Trigger warnings in books. Again, I have skin in the game on this one because I do have PTSD. Funny enough, one of the things with PTSD is you have triggers. I don't think they're a bad thing. Look, they are putting readers in a position to make a informed decision of whether this book is a good idea. The other thing is if I know that the thing that's going to trigger me is there, I'm kind of mentally prepared for it. I can potentially read the book. But it's the thing, and this kind of comes back to the big words on ableist thing. It's that I do think they belong. I'm not going to turn around to a writer and say, well, you can't put these things in because it upsets me. Rewrite the book without them, because this is nonsense. But I know some people are like, I hate it. It ruins the book for me. My dude, you can skip over the trigger warning page. I mean, that's just a thought. Flick and it's done. If you see at the top of the thing, it says trigger warnings. Gone. Right. Sorted. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to read it. But it is good for people who need it. Now, I think some people kind of hide behind them sometimes and go I'm not going to deal with any of what's going on up here with me because I just want to hide away from all of it. I don't want to do the hard work, and I don't want any kind of exposure to anything, and that's not healthy either. But look, I do think they belong in books. Now, I think the old for a full list of trigger warnings, go and check out the author's website. I think that's a really good idea. Some of them even have QR codes. It's just a quick scan and you're done. I think that's really great. It kind of sits in that, okay, we can all agree with this one, yeah? This one's a nice happy medium, I think. Personally, I look up anyway. I don't read books with trigger warnings as a rule. I did read Fortuna Swarm, which had trigger warnings, and I was fine. I had a lot of feelings about that book, and I did share them. But yeah, I think they serve a purpose. I think if you don't need them, good for you. I think if you need them, welcome to the club. So do I. I don't tend to avoid books that have them anyway, but I do think they're a good thing to have. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching to the end. It's very, very appreciated. If I have missed anything on that list that you think needed mentioning, do pop it in the comments below. I might even do like a follow-up video to this if, you know, and I'm sure I will when more nonsense comes out on the internet. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you have not subscribed, do, because I'm a delight. Yeah, it does also really help the channel in all seriousness. And yeah, so have an amazing rest of your day, week, evening, whatever, and I will see you again next week. Take care, guys. Bye.